Pigskin Frenzy on this wonderful Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris. And whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, or listening on Podbean, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some NFL coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the episode, and leave a comment down below. Spotify, if listening on there, share around with others and follow on there as well. Podbean, same thing. If listening on there, share around with others and follow on there as well. We have Facebook, Instagram, and now X, formerly known as Twitter. So let's kick it off. X, all you got to do is type in at pigskin_frenzy, all lowercase. All you got to do is type that in the search engine. You'll like it, follow the page there. You'll get episode updates as well as news and highlights from across college and NFL football. Facebook, same thing. All you gotta do is type in Pigskin Frenzy, follow, like the page there. You'll get episode updates as well as all things up to date with Pigskin Frenzy. And now Instagram. All you gotta do is type in at Pigskin Frenzy, follow the page there. You'll get episode updates. There's trivia questions you can go and answer on stories. Answer today's trivia question as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Okay, NFL day today. That's a little tricky. That was the first time that I've used, X instead of Twitter. It is formerly known as Twitter. It is now X. So that was kind of tricky in the intro at first, but I made it through. So same thing, same handle, just different name. So NFL day today, we're going to be diving deep into some more training camp coverage. We're about 3 weeks out. Well, as I look on my calendar here, let's look. We're about 4 weeks out from the kickoff of the regular season. Now, I didn't mean to say 3, 4 weeks out from the regular season kickoff, September 7th. That was actually last week's trivia question, if you didn't get it. September 7th is the answer. 4 weeks out from the NFL regular season kickoff. So, what are we going to do until then? Preseason. It's still football. Preseason action is tonight. We got games such as the Titans and the Jags. We got we got the Packers and the Colts. They're also in action tonight. We also got, a lot of preseason action. Packers and the Colts are playing prospective opponents tonight. We got a lot of preseason action. We also got training camp. We got holdouts. We got suspensions. And we're going to dive deep into it. We're going to dive into one holdout update and one suspension update. We're going to dive deep into those stories today. We're not going to be too long on this episode, but it's going to be an entertaining episode, just giving you some updates on what's happening in training camp. So subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Follow on Spotify and Podbean. Leave comments everywhere. Follow on X. Follow on Facebook. And follow on Instagram for all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Let's dive deep into it, shall we? We're about a few weeks out from the regular season. I'm excited. We got, a lot of things, to cover and a lot of things, to look forward to for NFL football. So before we get into that, let's get into injury updates. And I haven't actually been given any updates. I've tweeted it out a few weeks back, but I haven't actually even given in, getting into injury updates at all, which is, slap on the wrist, Joel. You should have been covering this, a while ago. But let's just get into some injury updates during training camp, so we can, as we push towards the season. Before we get into the, two other things that I want to talk about, let's give 2 updates out. First off, let's go with Dolphins cornerback Jalen Ramsey. He injured his knee during practice a couple of weeks back, and it is confirmed that he did tear a meniscus, and he will be out until about mid to late November, maybe even early December. So that's potentially half or majority of the regular season. So he's missing he's missing in week 1. He won't play. He's gotten his surgery. His surgery was successful. Now he's got to rehab. He's got to rest up, and he's got to rehab his knee after covering Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. Huge break for the Dolphins there. I didn't really talk about it a couple of weeks ago, but I should have. It's a tough break. And it goes to show about, training camp in general. Anything can happen, right? You can get hurt on a play, on non-contact, and the sad part about it is the worst injuries are non-contact injuries. You can be running and jogging, and then, something pull, click, snap, whatever. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, man, That's the worst, especially because you didn't get hit or you didn't come in contact with anybody. You're just jogging, you're doing something, and that's how your season ends. And it's not good, you know. But fortunately, Jalen Ramsey will be back for the Dolphins this season. It's just going to be late, but better late than never, right? Better late than never. So a huge loss for the Dolphins there. He will be out until about, till about after Thanksgiving for the Dolphins season. Other injury updates, we got Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. I'm pretty sure y'all saw the video of what happened there. He snapped, stepped back, dropped, started scrambling, and then went down. Non-contact injury. We all thought he was gonna, he was grabbing his knee or shin, and Bengals fans all over the NFL and all over the world were going, so a big gasp, and you can hear a pin drop because everyone was quiet. Everyone was like, oh no, this could be our season. Luckily, it is not their season. It is just a calf strain. He grabbed his calf. He was not grabbing his knee. It is a calf strain. He will be out for the rest of training camp, just, to rest, heal up, and get ready, potentially for the season opener for the Bengals. According to, speaking of, getting ready, his teammate, his old former LSU teammate and his current teammate now, Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase, said that, and I quote, "If I'm Joe Burrow, I'm telling him right now, if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm waiting until week 5." That's what he said. He said, I keep telling him, we don't need you until week 5. He wants him to rest even going into the season. He doesn't want him to play on the 10th, 17th, 20th or 30th, or 24th or 30th. He doesn't want him to play either of those weeks. He doesn't want him to play the rest of September. So, he wants him to rest as much as he can. He wants him to be 100% healed and ready to go until about week 5. That's what he suggested. But will Joe Burrow do that? Who knows? Do I expect Joe Burrow to do that? Probably not. I don't think Joe Burrow is the type of guy that will sit out even though the season started. I think he's going to try to be there and go out there for his teammates. But it is a good suggestion. I would suggest, if the calf is not fully healed yet, I would take some suggestion, because calf strains, if you look at a calf strain, it takes about around that time to heal. It takes a good bit to heal. Tearing a calf or having a mild tear in the calf or straining a calf, those injuries are kind of, they're not significant. They don't require, they require surgery if severe enough, but I'm saying, like, if they don't require they don't require, big time surgery. They require some rehab, some ice, rest up, and you go from there. It's one of those things where while they do, it's not that significant. It's one of those things, the resting period, it's significant enough to rest on it, right? Gives you enough time to heal. Those are some injuries there, while not significant surgery wise. Time wise, you probably want to rest up because it's an important, ligament when it comes to a contact sport like football. You need to, if you're going to scramble, you need those calves to function, right? And it's a part of running, right? So all of that to say is that's a good. He's looking out for him as a friend and as a teammate. I get that, but we will have to see what Joe Burrow does. I know that Joe Burrow is not really, training as much anymore. He's kind of, resting up during the preseason and training camp, and he's, trying to look forward to coming back in September, whether it's week 1 or, as Jamar Chase said, he suggested him come back in week 5. Who knows? Who knows what Joe Burrow is going to do? But we will just have to wait and see. Joe Burrow with a calf strain out for the rest of training camp. Luckily, it's not his season, so Joe Burrow will play this season. You can hold your breath. You can breathe a little bit. If you're a Bengals fan out there listening to my show, you can just breathe a little bit. Joe Burrow will play. So, those are some injury updates, and I'm sorry I didn't get to that, a lot quicker. I just was, there was a lot of ground to cover with NFL, especially with the contract extensions and, going on with the state of the running back market. So, I wanted to cover that a few weeks back, but however, it's better late than never to get to it. So injury updates there, and let's move on from that, and let's talk about some some holdouts from some contracts, some more holdouts, right? And let's dive deep into the heart of the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go to Kansas City, Missouri, and let's talk about Kansas City defensive tackle Chris Jones. You lose Frank Clark, but you keep Chris Jones. Maybe, right? So let's talk about Chris Jones for a second. What's going on with him? Update on him. Holding out for a long-term deal. So he's not in training camp. He's not there yet. He's not reported. Will he play in the opener? There's confident vibes that he will probably be in the opener on September 7th against Detroit. However, he is, continuing to hold out right now for a long-term deal. This past Tuesday, he posted on Twitter, during the negotiations, KC, I love you. So he loves Kansas City. He wants to be a Chief. And the Chiefs want him. The Chiefs actually want him to retire in Kansas City when he end his career in Kansas City. So Chris Jones, all-pro defensive tackle, one of the most underrated defensive tackles in the league, trying to get a better and long-term deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. So he's continuing to hold out, has not reported there yet. Both sides remain confident that they will get a long-term deal done, which is good. You're going to need a Chris Jones, right? So let me tell you what Chris Jones presents to you, and what Chris Jones, to me, and this is my opinion. I don't know if you're a Kansas City fan, you probably will agree with this. Chris Jones presents as a defensive tackle, a very incredible speed, constant pressure to the guard, to the quarterback, and presents a opposing threat to your offense, right? It's one of those things where you got to try to neutralize Chris Jones and try to contain him a little bit before he gets to you, right? Just slow him down a tiny bit, and he's a threat. And as a threat, I'm saying as a threat, that's what you got to do to him. What he brings to the table is speed, constant pressure, and to be as big as he is, to be a bigger, a tall defensive tackle like him, he's pretty agile, right? And that is a huge thing for Chris Jones. One of the most underrated, like I said, one of the most underrated defensive linemen in the NFL and in the AFC. So it will be a shame to try to let a Chris Jones go. And potential could be a future Hall of Famer in the future. So Chris Jones and the Chiefs are working out a deal currently to try to get, bring him back and, bring him back for the long term. So hold out for Jones. If you want to look at another holdout, we can look at Nick Bosa still. I mentioned Nick Bosa a couple of weeks back. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are trying to work out a deal with Nick Bosa. Both sides remain confident that a deal will get done there. Nick Bosa is still holding out right now. He's still not reported yet. Are they confident that he will play? Yes, they are confident that he will play, but they are continuing to hold out for a longer-term deal there. So Nick Bosa, probably one of the best edge rushers in the game, wanting a longer-term deal. And if I'm a 49ers, in the organization and management, I'm working on that deal immediately. I'm not letting that become an issue. Nick Bosa has earned it. He's deserved it. And he, to me, like I said, has earned a big money long-term deal contract for the 49ers. So those are some two big holdouts there. I can give you another update on Josh Jacobs. He's still not reported, to training camp. He's still holding out. No update there. Do we know if he's going to play week 1? It's questionable at this point, but he is not reported to training camp as they still try to work out a long-term deal with Josh Jacobs. He has not signed the franchise tender there. So those are the big holdouts there. That's all we know until until we know more, right? Until we know more, have more updates on those. Those are some 3 big holdouts there, though. As we are in training camp and preseason football. So moving on from the holdouts, let's talk about one more thing before we conclude today's episode of Pigskin Frenzy. And I know it's going by really quick, but let's talk about this, and let's talk about the suspension of one running back. And you probably already know what I'm talking about because I tweeted it out. Let's talk about Saints running back Alvin Kamara. So, according to Adam Schefter and NFL insider Ian Rappert, New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara has been suspended 3 games for the February 2022 incident that involved an assault at a nightclub. So Alvin Kamara, that incident happened back in February of 2022, so a year and a half ago. This incident took place. Nothing was ever done about it. They were investigating it. It was kept under wraps, and then it was investigated more, and the NFL finally decided to lay down some punishment for Alvin Kamara. And what's interesting is Saints are currently looking for backup running backs right now. Eno Benjamin is now out for the New Orleans Saints. He's out for the year after injuring his knee at training camp. And tough one there. Tough one for Eno Benjamin and tough one for the Saints. And because they lost 2 running backs, 3 games and for the season. So they're trying to, they're looking into free agent running back Kareem Hunt. Last I checked Tuesday, he was visiting the Colts. So we'll have more updates on that as we move along for, with free agent running back Kareem Hunt. But for Saints running back Alvin Kamara, he is suspended 3 games for that incident. Some options, before I get to some options with the Saints, let's talk about Alvin Kamara and what he presents. While he is a versatile running back, you want to talk about a wheel route, right? That man can run a wheel route. He can run a wheel route with him, throw him the ball, he can catch it, and then he turns the jets and he goes. Alvin Kamara, in the passing game, he is a threat. Let's just say that. I was trying to find the words there. He's a threat. He is proposes a big time threat for all opposing defenses. Then you got him in the running game. Him in the running game on the outside, second to none, one of the best in the game, right? The inside is he's still good on the inside. It's not as good as in the passing game or as an outside runner. Alvin Kamara is, a back that you can need. However, you probably could win some games without. And I'm going to give you some options if I'm the New Orleans Saints. You just drafted a running back that pretty much does a little bit what Alvin Kamara already does. And that was former TCU running back and 4th-round draft pick Keandre Miller. Keandre Miller, he was a solid runner in the Big 12. One of the most underrated backs in college football last season. Was a big part of that TCU offense that led the Horned Frogs to a Big 12 championship game, even though they were the runner-ups, a playoff berth, and a national championship game against Georgia, even though it was a heartbreaking loss against Georgia. Keandre Miller did not play that game. He was hurt. He hurt his knee, but he's fully healed, ready to go. He's in training camp with the Saints, and he presents a good option if the Saints need to use a back starting week 1, against the Titans, right? So if you want someone that does just as much as Alvin Kamara in the passing and on the outside with a run, and he does a little bit more on the inside than Alvin Kamara, Keandre Miller presents that option for you while Alvin Kamara is out for 3 games. About Alvin Kamara, solid back. My only questions is, 1, can he stay healthy when he comes back? 2, can he stay out of trouble? That is my big question. There's been a lot of flack on Alvin Kamara about him, being in trouble, not just with this incident, but with NFL management and so forth. That is the big thing about Alvin Kamara. Can Alvin Kamara stay out of trouble? Solid back. Don't get me wrong, but the only question that I have is, can he stay out of trouble? That's my only thing. And if he's out for 3 games, like I said, the option that I would go with, Keandre Miller, it makes too much sense there. So that's really all I got on the situation. He's suspended 3 games. No updates there. Besides that, he's suspended for 3 games. Don't know who they're going to start at running back yet if you're a New Orleans Saints fan. But look at some running backs. You got some options there. Keandre Miller being one of them. You have some options, along with the passing game's now upgraded. So if you feel kind of iffy on the running back, on the running game, you have Derek Carr now, so he could probably propose. a good passing threat with Chris Olave and Michael Thomas there. So Alvin Kamara suspended 3 games, and, we'll have to see who gets the starting nod in place of him for the next 3 games, including the season opener against the Tennessee Titans. So that just about does it for Pigskin Frenzy. I know it's a short episode, but we were just going around giving you some updates on everything, happening in training camp and holdouts and, just giving you some updates. So that's really all I got for today. In a few weeks, I'll give you an update, just give you a few more minutes before we head off. But in a few weeks, on the August 31st episode, I will release my brand power rankings. So I'll hype that up right now. Wanted to do it, the week before the season opener. I will release you my top 10 teams going into the NFL season. Who's number 10, who's number 1, you'll find out in a few weeks on Pigskin Frenzy. And just wanted to hype that up there. And a future Q&A episode for the NFL that will probably take place sooner rather than later. But we will get that going as soon as we can. So a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some NFL coverage and some training camp updates and some holdout updates presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the episode, and leave a comment down below. Spotify, if you're listening on there, share around with others, and follow on there as well. Podbean, same thing. If you're listening on there, share around with others and follow on there as well. We have X, Facebook, and Instagram. X, all you got to do is type in @pigskin_frenzy. Follow, like the page there. You'll get episode updates as well as news and highlights from across college and NFL football. Facebook, all you got to do is type Pigskin Frenzy. Follow, like the page there. You'll get episode updates as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. And Instagram, all you got to do is type in @Pigskin Frenzy. Follow, like the page there. You'll get episode updates. There's a bio about me if you want to know a little bit more about me. There's also trivia questions, so check out Pigskin Frenzy stories on Instagram. Answer the trivia questions. Loads of fun. And you'll get all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Big pause there. So, again, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to listen to some NFL coverage presented by me. Tuesday, we have a special episode. It is a Q&A episode. So I'm really excited about this. We're going to post it soon. Answer your questions on there. And we're gonna, ask your questions on there, and if it's already posted, I'm assuming. So we'll post, we'll keep on, reposting and getting some questions in there. So ask your questions. I'll answer them on Tuesday about college football and all things Pigskin Frenzy. Special episode Tuesday. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll answer your questions about football and all things Pigskin Frenzy once again. So big thank you again for taking some time out of your Thursday. I'm Joel Norris signing off, and we will see you Tuesday for a special edition of Pigskin Frenzy. And for everybody out there, stay the course.